number 21 and the captain, Jonathan Ivana. Number 3 and captain Cedric Nanking. Number 1, Nicolas Valentin. 4, Adrien Charlemagne. 5, Rodolphe Jalin. 7, Mathieu Thierry. 9, Riyad Salim. Number 10, Bryce Morrow. 14, Jordan Ducret. 33, Sebastian Badang. And number 44, Koeng Tang Kueng. Head coach Bob Vanacker. Assistant coaches Dubois, Frisberg and William. Og så er vi klar til at præsentere Danmark. Og vi har maskotten Harald Blåtand med selvfølgelig. Og så har vi vores kaptajn, nummer 3, Leon Jørgensen. Nummer 1, Thomas Pagh. 2, Morten Elmholdt. 4, Jakob Mortensen. 5, Kåre Monne Nielsen. Nummer 6, Sofie Skovbo. 7, Kurt Busk. 8, Jesper Kryer. Og nummer 9, Christian Eriksen. 10, Sebastian Frederiksen. Ved nummer 11, Mark Peters. 12, Mikkel Schüttel. Head coach, Jason Regier. Assistant coach, Thor Johansson. And we are ready for the 2 national anthems. First, the national anthem of France.
Hello and welcome. Hopefully you can hear me over the din that is being created here in the Vejle Spectrum. It is the third quarterfinal of the 2022 Wheelchair Rugby World Championship. And in case you hadn't guessed, the home nation is involved. Unfortunately for them, unfortunately I say, they're up against the current European champions. It is France versus Denmark. And the atmosphere could not be any hotter in here. It's pretty hot in a commentary position. My name's Drew Lilly, and alongside me to explain all of the ins and outs, all the intricacies of this wonderful sport, we have a man who is a coach, a referee, a general wheelchair rugby in general aficionado, Simon Starr. Simon, we weren't going to invite you in today, but it's your birthday, so we thought we'd give you a huge matchup. How about that?
You certainly have given me an absolutely great game to be with you, Drew, and I am so looking forward to this. The atmosphere is electric at the moment, and I think this crowd's got to be worth at least 3 tries to Denmark. What do you say?
3 tries, or maybe, to put it another way, it's an extra 0.5, because you're allowed 8 points on the court at any one time. You can have an extra 0.5 if you have female players, which is exactly what the Danes are going to do with Sofia Skovbo. So they can have 8.5 in their starting lineup, and I think it's going to count as 9, the amount of noise, sheer volume that's being created here.
Yes, both of these teams playing for semi-final place tomorrow, and they won't know who who the winners will play until GB and Australia meet later on today, but the focus at this moment in time is all about the 2 European teams. A repeat of the European Championship semi-finals back in 2019 here, when also in Vejle, when Denmark upset the apple cart and beat France. And that booked Denmark their first ever Paralympic place, and they were electric there. They beat Australia, the reigning Paralympic champions, in the first game. The whole world just couldn't believe it. They turned the wheelchair rugby world rankings on their head. It was brilliant to watch, and this will be too.
The countdown is done and dusted. First tip, and it's going to go the way of the Danish captain Jørgensen, who pops that one just over the line.
Yep, and Jonathan Evenat crossed the line before Leon Jørgensen did, so it was a penalty try awarded by referee Pierre-Alexandre Brière from Canada. And it's that man Evenat again, off to the races, outpacing Sebastian Frederiksen to level it up.
So the starting lineups for the French: Jonathan Hivernat, Cédric Nankin, Sébastien Verdun, Corentin Le Guen.
And I'm pretty sure that's the starting 4 they've had for almost every single game during the pool stages. It's their tried and tested, it's their number 1 lineup.
Exactly. We were having a look at Riyad Salem, the 3.5 pointer. So he's the highest classification player that they have. He may be brought on for a few minutes here and there, but Jonathan Hivernat has been the man, their go-to man for scoring tries in the pool stages. Now, down to a few seconds to go, and Cor Mommen Nielsen pops over, picks up that floated pass from Frederiksen. You can see there, right of your screen, 33 seconds, 32. That is the possession clock. So teams are allowed 40 seconds in which to score. Another thing is they have 12 seconds to get the ball over the halfway line.
And Jørgensen stopped in his tracks there by the French players, but illegally. And it's the French captain, Evenat, who finds himself as the first attendee in the penalty box. He'll be there for a minute or until Denmark score, whichever is the sooner.
Likely to be Denmark scoring first.
Yep.
And going to take the time.
We see Carl Mommer setting up a trap on the penalty box. You can't quite see that on your screen, but Fredriksson's delaying the clock and scoring until his players are in position, and even at indeed becomes the inbounder. So that's forcing France's best player to take the inbound. And he finds Nankin. In turn, passes it on to Verdun.
Yes, Yverna, best player in certain respects. Perhaps the best low pointer, one of the best low pointers in the game is Nankin there, setting up traps and blocks, and also for someone with the upper limb impairments that he has incredible skills at controlling the ball and passing.
Cedric's just phenomenal. We've referred to him at times during this week as the beast, but that's meant in a complimentary way, not in no way is that derogatory. He is just phenomenal, and the number of best-in-class awards that he has, he's probably got a trophy cabinet that's bigger than my house.
He is the reigning 1.5 best at the Euros. Just looking at that fan there, the one in the cockerel onesie, he has been there all week, and we're trying to work out whether he
hasn't laid yet.
He hasn't laid an egg yet. We're trying to work out whether he's had that onesie washed, because he's been wearing it every day and working up quite a sweat.
It's great to see the support here for both teams. Fantastic support from the people of Vejle and people across Denmark. We've got people here supporting all 12 teams from across the world, which is absolutely fantastic.
Bob Van Acker, the coach for France. Strength in depth for him to choose from.
Yes, the French coaching team is Bob Van Acker, actually from Belgium, and Justin Frischberg, formerly from GB, and they do have some French representation on there through Cédric Dubourg.
And a timeout was called there by Fredriksson, the number 10. We've seen Jørgensen took a while to get the ball to him, and the two of them failed to get the ball over the halfway line within the allotted 12 seconds. You can see the 28 on the possession clock there that was on your screen, and they knew that they weren't going to get the ball over the halfway line within the 12 seconds, so called a timeout. 4 timeouts per team, and it's used for that kind of thing, to stop the clock. If you're going to go out of bounds, it's a way of retaining possession.
It's your get out of jail free card, basically, and
but they're not unlimited. You have 4 per team, and France, Denmark rather, now down to 3 already.
If you can hang on to those until late in the game, and also at the end of a quarter, it's a great way of controlling the clock and making sure the opposition can't get the ball back at the end of a quarter.
Jørgensen there had to be careful not to go back over the halfway line, otherwise that's an over and back, which, like the basketball front court infraction or violation, is a penalty. So Denmark making very good use of their timeouts. You've got 4 timeouts, and the most important thing is to use them wisely and to make sure that you get a point out of them, to get that try. Verdun, one of the 2 3-pointers that they currently have on the court. They've gone 3-3, 1.5, 0.5. Denmark can go 3-5, 3, 1.5 and 0.5 thanks to Sofia Skovbo, the number 6 that you can see there.
No try. Leaving the court. So Jørgensen for Denmark, forced over the line. I'm sure that would have been Cédric Nankin. Oh no, it was Verdun. Well done, Sebastian. So Jørgensen in the penalty box, and Denmark won't contest this because they won't want to give away a penalty try, which would mean Leon Jørgensen would remain in the penalty box. Surprised France didn't put a trap on the penalty box there to make Leon become the inbounder.
Tell you what, I'm going to put a trap on the horns that the French fans have got there. I think the cockerel, I'm going to stuff it up his comb, if you'll pardon the expression, if they carry on like that. Thank goodness we haven't got vuvuzelas here. Kåre Wommer Nielsen, and that's going to silence the French crowd and get the Danes back on their feet. Denmark with their noses in front, they won the opening tip-off, so they got possession and scored the first point, which is always good.
Oh, fantastic turn there on a sixpence by Verdun, and he and Hivenat are just such a force to be reckoned with. And then if one of them gets Hivenat never gets tired, but if Verdun doesn't get tired, they can bring on Riyad Salem as a 3.5 or Jarlin as a 2.5.
Indeed, Riyad Salem saw some game time in the match between France and Team GB because Hivernin had a real problem with his chair, and the mechanic he was working on it all the way through the 10-minute half-time break, well into the third quarter.
Did I hear you claiming in an earlier commentary that player of the match should have gone to the French mechanic?
Exactly, yes, because he worked absolute wonders on there, got Hivernin back out there, and they really do like to have Hivernin out there as much as possible, as we have a good look at him there, the 31-year-old.
Yeah.
Plays for Stade Toulouse, as does Rodolphe Jarlon and Mathieu Thirier.
He's a talisman for them, without a doubt. And we see Mark Peters here for Denmark, the former serviceman. Started playing through the Invictus Games and captained the Danish team in that competition. And he did so well that they've got him playing this Paralympic version, and he's been brilliant. He's got such a low centre of gravity as well. He's hard to knock off course.
39 years old, made his Danish debut in 2015. I must admit, I'm not a fan of Verdun taking his time going over the line, because it gives the French fans more time to get those horns going. They're going to run out of gas at some point, quite literally, or it might be metaphorically when I go over there during the 10-minute half-time break and say, s'il vous plaît, and ask them to keep it down a bit. Peters off to the races again.
Good pace there.
Creep in the corner. Yeah. Denmark keeping their noses in front.
Yeah, so Peters a 3.5 classification athlete, so you would expect him to have that, perhaps that little bit more pace and strength than France's two three-pointers. But even at showing a clean pair of wheels there until Fredriksson cuts him off. Peters in there with a big hit, forcing him towards the sideline.
Popped over the top in two high pointers. France playing with a couple of threes, and at the moment it's two 3.5s for Denmark. That's the benefit of having, as I said earlier, Sofia Skubbo, the number 6 on there. If you have a female player, you're allowed 0.5 extra, so they have two 3.5s, and there are the two 3.5s, but, well, a hand got in there, and it's going to be retained possession for Denmark.
Yes, that was a great flick out there by. So you can see from the replay there, as Fredriksson's arm came forward with the push, Verdun went through that window that was created. That was brilliant play. Sadly for him, it didn't bounce off Fredriksson's knees, and France didn't get the reward.
No, because it was knocked out by a French player, so that means that the Danes get possession when it comes back in. So half a turnover, little battles that you're winning.
But that's an amazing play to have that, because that's a tiny little space. It's what rugby union players look for in a clear out. That they try and drive through, as a player's got his arms down, they try and drive through the window between the two arms. And that window there on Fredriksson was even smaller. And when you're going at the pace they're going, that's unbelievable play.
Jesper Kruger is the man inbounding, a one-pointer, and Peters is in a little bit of trouble here because he can't find his fellow 3-5er and he's forced to call a timeout. It would have been difficult to try to pass it to either Skålbo or Kruger because they haven't got the kind of upper body, the upper limb function to be able to corral a difficult pass. So that's a second timeout used by Denmark, a third in fact. So they're already down to just one timeout left.
So Joe Bongiovanni from the USA reported that to the table, and the referees swap positions after every timeout call and also after every foul. That's so a team doesn't get the same referee always doing their 12-second counts and inbounds. So
saying, I don't like the way John Bon Jovi counts it all the time. That is his name, isn't it, John Bon Jovi? Sorry, Joe Bongiovanni. There we go.
From Michigan in the United States.
There we go. So John Bon Jovi from New Jersey and Joe Bongiovanni from Michigan.
Close enough.
And the stadium DJ does their regular thing. As soon as a player hits the deck, then Tom Petty's free falling is played. It's Mark Peters who's gone down this time, the one with a low centre of gravity, as you said. Once he's gone over about 45 degrees, there's no way he's going to be able to wiggle his way back up. He's not someone like Cam Leslie of New Zealand, who's a lithe little fella who can get into little gaps and occasionally, when he's going to be knocked over, can get his balance back. Once Peters is going, then he's gone. But he can also put some blocks in there, which he's doing now.
Yep.
Verdun is looking at the clock already because we're into the last 2 minutes. He wants to know when's a good time to score. And you might be thinking, well, it's always a good time to score. But in the last 90 seconds or so, that's when teams start thinking about time management.
It's game management, clock management, and it's also, you'll see players stop to allow the rest of their team to get into position for transition, that transition from offense to defense.
Like a lot of sports, it's played on a basketball court size, and it's similar to basketball in that as soon as you've scored a point, well, get the heck back on defense. You haven't got time to flex, as the kids say. Get back and defend. They
just don't stop. There's work happening off the ball. Everybody, the camera follows the ball, the spectators follow the ball, but actually, take your eye off the ball and watch the work of the players off the ball. They are phenomenal. They just do not stop.
Now Verdun is going, Yverdon is going to go over the line. It's always good to do it between 50 and 55 because you have the 40-second possession time, and that means that with 52.8 seconds to go, France are almost guaranteed to get another fauteuil. All right, okay, I thought that was a play. It is. It's a play that's being called. It means wheelchair, it literally means armchair, but it's a play that's been called there. So they've got their own set plays.
So we're seeing a number of the teams communicating from the benches using cardboard.
Yes, either colours or Team USA today had Windex.
Right.
And the New York Yankees sign, which I bristled at rather, because I'm not a Yankees fan, I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan, so that got my back up, but it worked for Team USA. They snuck past Canada 53-51 in an absolute nail-biter. Now, France a point down, and they're trying to score as late as possible in order to prevent Denmark getting another possession. So 2.2 seconds. France now need to get the heck back. And the Danes decide that discretion is the better part of valor. And at the end of what was always going to be a very tight contest, at the end of the first quarter, nothing to choose between them, 13 apiece.
So what we saw there was France scoring last in that first quarter. They will have, because Denmark came up with the first possession after the tip-off, France got the possession arrow, and that gives them the ball at the start of the second quarter. So if you can score last and first in every quarter, that's an 8-try differential.
If you could score last and first and commit no turnovers, you're going to win. It's as simple as that, really, isn't it?
It's a very straightforward game.
Who needs coaches like you? I can do this. Out of the way there, Bob Van Acker and Jason Rozier, all these coaches who've been all around the world coaching all of these teams. It's a simple game. It is a simple game, but it has to be executed well.
Yes. Yeah.
Both teams executing very well thus far. We're in the first break here between quarters 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You just have 3 minutes, and then there'll be a 10-minute break at half-time, during which time I'm sure there will be T-shirts distributed. Actually, as you can hear from cheers from the crowd, there are T-shirts being distributed. But a quick look at the statistics, and there are 2 statistics that stand out there that the coaches are going to love. All right, one statistic mainly: no turnovers.
Yeah.
How about that on either side? No turnovers. The coaches love that. Coaches always love defence.
They do. Yeah, and
defence wins championships.
It certainly does. And both of these defences have been very miserly so far, which is what the coaches will want. The USA we saw earlier, their key defence is just rock solid.
It was the key defence, as in outside the key that you can see there, the dark part that says Grundfos on it. Grundfos, who sponsor the player of the match. That's the key. You can only have 3 defending players in the key at any one time. If a 4th goes in there, then it's an infraction. But setting up outside the key, Team USA, absolutely amazing. And even the incredible Zach Medell 3.5-pointer from Canada just couldn't find a way through.
No, they had to work really hard to cross that USA line, and yeah, they were so strong. And you see teams using different formations, and
you can't do it all the time.
No,
you've
got to mix it up, otherwise teams will work it out. But, no, I think we're in for an absolute thrilling second quarter here. France with the inbound. They've rung the changes to a certain extent. They've given Cedric a rest and brought on Mathieu Thirier, who, if he wasn't in any team that contained Cedric Nankin, would probably be in the starting 4.
Exactly, but if you're understudy to Nankin, then you're doing something pretty good, and so Nankin being given a rest at the moment. Dane's gone back to Kormom Nielsen and Jørgensen, the captain.
Long ball there to Fredriksson. That's a great pass, but Verdun cuts him off. And Thirier there too before reinforcements can arrive.
Jørgensen buzzing around, looking for the ball, gets it. Back to Fredriksson. You can see they're halfway through the possession, but Mormon Nielsen, he's a great mid-pointer. He is 1.5. I was looking down, I thought 1.5, I could have sworn he was a 2. Plays like a 2.
Very, very strong player. He's picked up at least 1 player of the match awards earlier in the pool stages.
Verdun goes over for try number 9 for him. Ivernat has got the other, I think number 8 for him rather, and Ivernat has 7. That's the 15 for France. Jørgensen to Fredriksson. Part of the Frederiksberg Falcons combination. Jørgensen, Fredriksson, Kurt Busk, Thomas Pett, Christian Bak-Eriksen, who will come out, I'm sure, at some point. He's a 2-pointer, and then Mark Peters as well.
Good pressure there by Denmark, forcing Corentin Lejeune to ask Joe Bongiovanni for the timeout, because he wasn't able to inbound the ball within the 10 seconds after the referee's whistle blows.
So France taking a timeout.
Yeah.
They've got enough in their pockets at the moment.
Every inbound is a mini power play, because you've got 3 eligible receivers, if you like, and 4 defenders. So
it's always a power play. Exactly. Yes, it's always 4 on 3.
There should always be somebody who's double teamed.
You've always got a spare player.
Identify
so, yes.
their best receiver and double team them, and force the inbounder to try and find the one of the other 2 receivers. Mormon Nielsen driven back over his own line by Ivanat there, and he'll have a little bit of a rest in the penalty box. So good work there by Ivanat. Not really thought of as a strengths player, but when you've got his speed,
impetus, yes, exactly.
That makes a big difference.
So Le Guen, it's always a tough inbound from the corner, but Le Guen manages to do it. Corentin Le Guen, you can't get any more Breton than that. That's a good Brittany name, north-west of France, one of the Celtic areas, Celtic regions.
Impressed by your geography.
Le Guen means white. It's the equivalent of the surname White. That's what Le Guen means, as in Gwyn, Guinevere.
Okay.
Yeah. Stick with me, kid. You'll learn things.
I will.
As Chris Ryan said the other day, every day's a school day with you, Drew, and I don't think he meant that as a compliment.
I apologise for not being able to return the favour.
Well, I'm learning. I've got the trivia. You've got the rugby knowledge. So
maybe. Oh, turnover! First one of the game.
And don't the Danes love that? A pick-off by Fredriksson, pops it over to Mom Nielsen, and all of a sudden the Danes have their noses in front.
Yep.
So instead of chasing the game and being behind on possession, they're now ahead on possession. France always having to even it up.
But France do still have 3 timeouts, which...
do or did. They might have to call one any second now. I think he's trying to draw a foul, and it's not being called.
Whoa,
He's
ball's
risking a
loose.
turnover.
Oh.
How about that?
Tillier comes up with it.
They've got 8 seconds to go, and a timeout is going to have to be called, and Jørgensen, the captain, knows that they've forced them into a timeout, and that is a mini victory, a mini turnover in itself.
So when you call a timeout with less than 15 seconds remaining on the possession clock, the clock is reset to 15 seconds, so it gives you a reasonable chance in which to score. If they just stop the clock at 8 seconds, it's going to be tough to break down that key defence that Denmark have set up in.
Still going to struggle to do it. Ivanat this way and that. They're down to 6 seconds, and he's squeezing through. He can't quite do it. He's called another timeout, and doesn't Fredriksson love that?
Yeah, a little light on the Danish bench there, and on the court itself. Wow, that's tremendous. To get a team to use 2 timeouts in one attack.
A timeout should be used to make sure that you then go on to score a try. And here, the best they can come up with is half a point per timeout. So, and it's reset the clock to 15 again. That's all, just 15. The Danes are advancing from, well, it's going to be a corner inbound, always a tough one. So Noncan trying to get in there. Le Guen with a tough inbound again. Noncan, what can he do? He's going to be pushed out of play.
Turnover again. Fredriksson trying to work his way out of defence. There's a lot of chairs there. He's done brilliantly. And a good pick there from Mama Nielsen.
It's a turnover. 2 timeouts have been used. That's a huge passage of play for Denmark.
Yep, so they're 2 tries to the good, and they have the possession arrow.
They're level on timeouts now. This game has suddenly swung in favour of the Danes.
Denmark do get off to a good start. We saw this in their game against Canada yesterday. And they built up a 3-4 try lead very early on. The Canadians are the masters of clawing it back just bit by bit, and in the end I think they won it by a couple.
I think it was 55-53, yes. France finally get over the try line, and there's no hanging about there from Sébastien Verdun. I was going to say Jason Regier is the happier of the 2 coaches. He wasn't showing that there, but inside he must be bubbling with excitement. Mama Nielsen turns around, and
he did brilliantly then. did absolutely fantastic to regather that ball, because he did not have his chair in the right position, and a chair position is everything. Just go, oh, what a hit.
It was a huge hit by Vejle. Oh, there we go. We've changed from free falling to tub thumping by Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, I get up again. Fair enough. The stadium DJ up in their game there, and variety is the spice of life. We've got another quarter-final after this, 2 semis, a final, and all sorts of placing matches as well. So maybe they can go through their discography and see what else they can come up with.
I've just said record collection myself. That's me dumbing it down at all times.
You're here for the rugby expertise. I'm here for the flowery lexicon. Vejle over the line again. He is racking up the tries. That's 11 for him now. But the main scoreboard is the one at the top of your screen there. It doesn't matter who's getting them individually. It's which team's getting them.
Yeah, in terms of that try scoring, it's France, just 2 players, Verdun and Ivanat, whereas it's far more evenly spread amongst the Danish team, which is a good thing to have. You don't want to just be relying on a couple of try scorers, as good as they are, and Ivanat adds to his total. Yeah, I think that is up to 9 now, 8 or 9.
Yes, the fact that you've got the likes of Kormom and Nielsen, the number 5 we can see there, who is trying to run a screen. Timeout called because captain Leon Jørgensen wasn't going to get that over the halfway. He wants a drink as well. So there's the cockerel. I was about to say a little quieter. No, no, he's seen himself on the screen now. We've gone and encouraged him. Both sides getting into the spirit of things here at the Vejle Spectrum. Absolutely wonderful atmosphere, and if Denmark make it through to the semis, imagine that on a Saturday prime time. This place is going to be absolutely packed. Plenty of fans in here as it is.
Oh, great hit there by Carl Nielsen there to stop Ivanat getting across. Yeah, just keep half an eye on the ball and keep the other half on what's going on off the ball, because those hits are just phenomenal. Those picks by the likes of Nankin and Le Guin, or Le Guin, you said.
Le Guin.
Le Guin. Le
Guin. And I'm going to get you to say Nankin by the end of. By the end of the 4th quarter. And so when it goes to overtime, which it could do if these two are locked up.
Don't mention the O word.
There is a 3-minute overtime period. We've had that once before, and it involved Denmark. They could have, maybe should have defeated Japan, the number 1 ranked team, and they were should have had the final possession.
Oh, great pass. Leon Jørgensen had a couple of seasons with Leicester Tigers in the GB leagues. Also played in the States for Seattle and Tucson, Vegas. Yeah, he gets about a bit.
A gun for hire, and why not? Much along the lines of Zach Medell of Canada, who's played for Queensland, played in the United States, obviously in Tokyo as well. These franchise players, as it were.
But, for players from countries with a small number of teams to go and play in the other countries like GB, Australia, and the
Canada
US, Canada.
Yes, a huge amount of teams.
You just learn so much more, and you can play every week in the States virtually, because there's so much. You're talking 40 to 50 teams over there.
If you're willing to travel, then yes, you can always find a tournament.
Yeah. And the rugby family will always welcome you with open arms as well. They're delighted to have the added colour that international players bring.
Ivanat creeps in at the corner after some excellent blocking from Nankin. Inbounded from Mom Nielsen to Fredriksson, who gets backed in there.
Good work by Verdun, and then Nonkin.
And how about that? We have a turnover. So France with an opportunity to level things up. The possession clock is reset once possession changes hands. And whisper it quietly, but the French have leveled it up, 23 apiece. And it was Le Guen getting in there. How about that? 26-year-old. So a hush falls over the spectrum here in Vejle, but that's not going to last long. Into the last 2 minutes, so possession once again is going to, well, they're holding up the number, well, it's number 55 on the back of it. We can't see what's on the front of it, but a play has been called. Play called by the French.
I'm imagining somebody replaying all of these live streams to work out what.
What is New York Yankees? What's Windex?
Exactly.
What's 55?
What do they when they call 55?
Ah, there we go. 1:30. That was purely the time to go. Then you would have thought. No, not quite. Maybe. It's play the kind of play that we play when there are 90 seconds to go, quite probably. But the others, the New York Yankees, and they're going to have to change them every time, because otherwise, if you work out that Yankees means the high pointer is going to inbound or run some sort of screen, then it's like a lot of things where you can call plays. You call a lot of them in all kinds of rugby. Touch rugby is one of them, and. But you need to change the plays every so often. So we are into the last minute and a half.
And a one-point game. What more can you ask for as we approach half-time?
Denmark having used their final timeout, and you don't get any more in the second half. You'll only get them if we go into, not that I'm allowed to mention it, overtime. So. Yeah. You want overtime. You want free rugby on your birthday. It's your gift. It's my gift to you. I'll give you some free rugby. We'll have an extra 3 minutes.
It might not just be 3.
Exactly, 3
and for every period of overtime, you get an extra timeout added to you, to however many you have left.
Which is, let's be honest, it's definitely going to be 0 for Denmark. It's as like as not going to be 0 for France. They've got 1 left.
Okay, so Denmark forced Ivanat back over his own try line, so the referee had the opportunity there to give a penalty try, but by putting Ivanat in the bin and giving Denmark a new 40-second possession, it gives them far greater control of the clock. So teams are very often happier with the player going to the bin than the penalty try.
You can see Kormom and Nielsen there is trying to block Ivanat from coming out. Nonkan tried to get him out of there, but the one foolproof way of getting out is by saying to the referee, I want to inbound after you've conceded the try. So that is what Ivanat has done. There has been a coach's timeout called, I do believe, by Bob Van Acker.
So that was purely to stop Jonathan Ivanat from having to inbound.
There we go. So Ivanat, it'll probably be Le Guen inbounding, as tend to be his duties.
So although Ivanat made that request and was on his way to be the inbounder, because there's now been the interruption of a coach's timeout, France can elect to have anybody inboundable. Don't have to. It doesn't. The Ivanat request doesn't carry over beyond the coach's timeout.
Coaches trump players is what you're saying.
Yes, basically, in that situation.
The rules explained perfectly by the referee sitting alongside me, and the hierarchy as well by the coach sitting alongside me. So 40 seconds to go, 32 on the possession clock. And the French deciding that, you know what, the most important thing is points.
Yeah, level it up first.
Time management's all well and good, but it doesn't beat actually scoring a point.
No, particularly when you're the ones chasing the game at this stage.
So Fredriksson, ideally, there's no possession clock because it is the game clock. There's 25 seconds to go.
Yeah, the clock gets turned off once the game clock's below 40 seconds at the start of that particular possession.
The Danes want to score as late as possible so as not to give another possession to the French.
And this is
obviously the French don't want them to score.
No, this is always a difficult strategy, this.
He can't reverse over the line. He's not quite going to do it. No, says Joe Bongiovanni. And to the chagrin of the crowd, but the delight of the French, Denmark kept off the board right at the end. Jørgensen couldn't quite reverse over the line. Nankin take a bow, and Hivernat in there as well, and the big shout of "way" from Hivernat. So, breathless times. We get to the half-time. Once again, nothing to choose between them. We've had two quarters, 13 apiece, 26 all at half-time.
That's just amazing. And I think he probably got one backcaster over that line before the time had elapsed, but he
so it's 26 and a half, 26.
He didn't have sufficient time to get that second caster over the line.
Yes, the referee perfectly positioned there. Referee's always perfectly positioned, obviously.
Of course.
Perfectly positioned, particularly at this level. We have some excellent referees, particularly the two in action here at the moment, and he could see exactly how many casters were over the line. It was only the one. Jørgensen couldn't quite get it. That was previous. That's Jørgensen doing a bit of time clock management. Fredriksson going this way and that. Yes, indeed, Leon Jørgensen. We're all going to take a deep breath here because this is the 10-minute break. We'll have a quick look at a few highlights.
While you need to go and have a chat with some French supporters.
That's right, yes. Well, we'll have a look at the statistics from the second quarter. 2 turnovers committed by the French, and yet they managed to stop Denmark getting over the line right at the very end. So that was as good as a turnover, really. And again, very little to the Danes passing it more. The French preferring to screen, which is the safer play. You have your low pointers shepherding, getting the other players out of the way so that one of your high pointers can cruise through, and that's obviously safer because you're keeping the player keeps possession of the ball. Yeah. But equally effective for the Danes if you can pass well and you've got some good high pointers.
Yeah, but passing is always a risk, and so yes, if you can hold on to that ball and just the other 3 players just clear the path for you, then that's an ideal situation. You're not adding any risk.
Well, as you can see from the cube at the top of your screen, it says pause or pause in Danish. 7:27 left. It's the 10-minute break. We're going to have a break as well, and I think you deserve one at home because you've been watching all day. You've been watching quarterfinals and placing matches, so you're going to have yourselves a break as well, and we will be back in 7 minutes' time for the second half of this third quarterfinal.
3, 2, 1, sæt i gang!
Welcome back. We have just over a minute to go. The two teams have caught their breath. We didn't hear what they were saying because it's, you may have heard throughout the week, we've been listening in and getting some of the tactics because it's incredibly enriching, enlightening for us and for you at home, learning what the coaches are saying. But obviously, anyone can have our streams on and find out what the opposition coach is going to plan. So we can't have that. So they've not been mic'd up, but we didn't need them mic'd up just there. We had the French team who were leaning in, and it was, I think it was William Ibert, one of the coaches there, was bawling out, pas de cadeau, so don't give away any gifts. And I don't think he was referring to my fellow commentator Simon Starr's birthday, because I think he deserves some presents. It was, don't give any freebies away to the opposition. And at 26 all, with 16 minutes to go and a semi-final berth on the line, you don't want to give away any freebies.
You don't. And you're right, this game is hugely tactical. First time I saw it, I thought this is gridiron meets chess. And the strategies that the coaches employ and working out what matchups will dominate other matchups is a huge part of the battle. Sometimes a particular lineup just will not work against another lineup. And we see some coaches are literally serial substitutors.
Yes, we are back underway. And it's the Danes who had the inbound. Krüger managing to get the inbound to Fredriksson to Jørgensen, and there we go. The Danes get their noses in front, and they're going to be trying to keep their noses in front all the way. That's the advantage of possession. Peters it was, sorry, who threw it forward to Jørgensen. So at the moment it is Jørgensen, Peters.
France back to their original starting four. Denmark, by contrast, have brought on 55-year-old Kurt Busk. When Thomas Pay takes the court with him, they have a combined age in excess of 100.
Exactly. Pay, who is 50, Busk is 105. This commentary box has got a combined age of over 100.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I am the Thomas Pay of this particular commentary team. I don't think you get extra. It's when you have a female player, you're allowed an extra 0.5. Maybe if you have two half-centenarians, then should you be allowed another 0.5? Oh, that was a threat of a turnover from Nankin. He got so close there.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of domestic leagues, there'll be age-appropriate reductions. It counts as a reduction in there. The female 0.5 is an addition to the total classification, whereas for players over 45, it's counted as a reduction.
So we saw that pass there from Jesper Krüger, and it almost came loose, and Nankin was so close to it. So Krüger is going to have to tighten things up. The low pointer, 1 pointer.
That was good patience there from Mark Peters. Peters and Jørgensen, sometimes difficult to distinguish the two with those.
They are, the number of times with the headbands. Yes, the headbands, the shaven heads. Yeah. I think they should be obliged to bring on Christian Eriksen, who has as much head. We need Christian Eriksen and Riyad Salem on at the moment, and we'll have a hairdo off. We'll have a barnet off, as we say in the UK, a barnet fair, your hair. And that is fired forward there, and Le Guen is not going to have the wheels to get there.
Pretty good play there. Made sure that he gathered it safely, and then waited for reinforcements to arrive. And then the two low pointers there, you see Peter Jørgensen jumping up and down in his chair there. You can't do that without trunk in order to free himself, and he's still working hard to get away. But lovely punt pass there from Jesper Krüger. Finds Mark Peters in acres of space. Le Guen needing a tyre change by the looks of things. Possibly from just the axle worked itself loose from all of Leon Jørgensen's
jumping up and down and almost like a little kid having a tantrum. Let me out, let me out. And Nankin and Le Guen saying non. Hiverna takes it for the Danes in the key. You can see the possession clock, center of your screen, 26-25. Oh, and straight through there. Wow. Knife through butter.
It was. Jurgensen was trying to make a breakdown court there, and Nankin, my apologies.
Nankin. We'll get there.
Yes,
Cedric, just call him Cedric.
Yeah.
And how about that? Turnover, and they're trying to force a repeat turnover, trying to get Hiverna back over for an over and back. So now they're trying to steal it back. Hiverna backs off. He's used 20 seconds. He said, right, you have a go now, Sébastien. I've done enough. Oh, you're giving it back to me? And over the line, and he earned that. And doesn't he know it, and doesn't he celebrate it? And aren't they celebrating it up there?
That's the first turnover of the third quarter. And that could be a crucial one.
Peters stuck in the key as well, gets it out to Jurgensen. That's the best person to get it to. Busk runs the screen. Nankin with a huge hit. Oh. The ball's going here, there and everywhere. It's fast and furious at the moment.
Kruger's done well to gather that in.
How did he get that out?
Fabulous pass.
Hands from Kruger there. Amazing.
And I'm not even sure whether... I think that might have been his non-dominant hand as well.
How about that one? Flicked that one out beautifully, Jesper Kruger.
So here's a bit of trivia for you. Stu Robinson from GB, sadly hasn't been here this week, has actually, since he started playing this game, has changed dominant hands.
There we go.
How do you do that? And how does that happen?
It's much along, I presume, much along the lines of tennis players when you think Rafael Nadal, is he left-handed or right-handed? And the answer is both. Yeah. Left-handed when he's playing, and then watch him sign an autograph, he's right-handed. Yeah. And his uncle Tony, his coach, made him play with his left hand because it was stronger. It wasn't the crafty one, it was the strong one, and did it the other way around. Maria Sharapova played right-handed, is actually left-handed when holding a pen.
And there's a lot of cricketers as well who bowl left,
yes,
bat right, or
yes,
vice
Jimmy
versa.
Anderson bowls left-handed, bowls right-handed, bats left-handed. Stuart Broad the same. You have, I think there's true lefties and half lefties or something like that, or are they a true lefty? Do they?
Yeah.
And a lot of people who play, it's left-handed if they're holding it in one hand, so tennis or table tennis. Right-handed if it's two hands, so batting or golf.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the rugby. It's always nice to have a little...
Thomas Pay and Fredriksson.
So they're going they're going high-low, and they're going... I was going to say young-old, but it's not really young-old. It's 37, 39, 50 and 55.
Yeah, wow. That's possibly the highest total we'll see on court. Held ball. Brilliant work by Denmark. So with France having got that turnover, that's half a turnover back.
It is. It will... Well, France will retain it because the last team to have possession either after a held ball, there wasn't one, or at the start of a quarter was Denmark, so it's France's turn. Much along the lines of basketball again, but that means that the fourth quarter, unless there are any more held balls, will begin with Denmark inbounding, so that is huge.
Certainly is.
Verdun showing a clean pair of wheels. It could come down to, it is going to come down, I think we can almost guarantee it now, to time management and possessions, making the most of your possessions, who's got them at the start of quarters, who can finish off at the end. Again, as you were saying earlier, if you score the first and the last, that's 8 tries. Yeah, they're only going to need one here.
France, crucially, with one timeout left. That's a great pass from Fredriksson to find Peters. And that timeout could, if they're not forced to use it up in this third quarter, having that in your back pocket in the fourth can be a lifeline.
Le Guen inbounds to Vejle, who's
Peters
lost it.
picked his pocket. Amazing piece of play. Even that was just looking up, seeing what options he had down court, and Peters flicked it away in the blink of an eye.
French in the background, quiet. The Danes going wild in the Vejle spectrum. Having a look around and up. There we go. The Danes on their feet. They are in the lead. So it's as if they've stolen 2 possessions. They've got the turnover and had the held ball. So that's as good as 2 possessions, that is. Vejle creeps through with...
There was no gap there, but he found it.
I think he might have blown the cone as he went past. Just an equipment change, I think, required here for Fredriksson.
So Denmark have the fastest running mechanic of the lot. You see some of the others will just stroll out to the to the player, but this guy sprints every time. It's great to watch. And then he races back to mend that puncture.
We've got a wheel race.
Oh, Peter.
Oh, he lost it. He wasn't quite in control of it. You have to be in control of it as you go over the line, and he crashed into the barriers there. But that was absolutely brilliant defence from Sébastien Verdun. Turnover after turnover. He bounced it on his own wheel under pressure from Verdun. It's an unforced error that was forced.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt that the proximity of Verdun caused Peters to lose that control.
So all of a sudden, we now have France in the lead. They're the ones with possession. The Danes will get possession unless there's another held ball at the start of the final quarter. Good grief, we've still got 3 minutes left in this quarter as well.
Yeah.
We've had so much action.
Yeah, anything can happen, and it probably will.
Verdun again, the 2 of them in a wheel race. Peters sticking that one well in his lap this time around.
Yeah, wasn't going to make the same mistake twice, certainly.
Danes already back in the key. You can't see them yet. You'll see them any second now.
Yeah, playing a 2 in, 2 out at the moment, but that can be fluid as long as there aren't 4 of them in there.
Noncan trying to bash a route there for Vejle. Vejle spinning around. Possession clock's down to 20 as the number 21 tries to get in there.
So Corentin Le Guen is trying to get the corner to create space, and he's got there for a second, but it's gone again. Hands in, no try, says Pierre-Alexandre Brière.
So as the ball went over the line, Verdun wasn't in control of it. He got control of it in the end.
Yeah. French arms aloft in there, and Vanacker with his head in his hands.
Yet another turnover. There's been lots here. Forced errors, not unforced.
Yep. Substitutions by the Danes.
Sofia Skolbo has come back on. Fredriksson is out there. Of course, Skolbo means that they can have an extra 0.5.
Good work by Fredriksson there.
Verdun keeping everybody honest here.
Yes.
And the 2 high pointers have got
Fredriksson
Fredriksson locked up. He hasn't got a timeout. He's lobbed it over. Where is it, is the question. And it lands in the lap of Jørgensen.
He had to do something. And
that was in the lap of the gods, but it ends up in the lap of the captain. They still haven't got through their 6-5-4. They are going to get through, to the delight of the crowd, into the final 2 minutes.
You can see the anxiety etched on the faces of the crowd there. They know this is an absolute nail-biter, and one mistake could turn the entire game.
Le Guen with the tough inbound, but finds Vejle. Vejle finds Verdun. Noncan tries to block them up.
You see why every team has sports psychologists attached to them now.
Time management is starting now.
performance analysts, sports scientists, you know, it's, wheelchair rugby has reached the big time in terms of catching up with everybody else, and yeah, they come with huge entourages now, and you've got nutritionists, strength and conditioning coaches. It's the same as a rugby union team, a professional.
They've got cheerleaders and absolutely everything.
Yep, and it does add an extra dimension to the sport, without a doubt.
Needs to hold on to the ball there. Spins it this way and that. Does Ivernat, has to bounce it every 10 seconds as well. The play board's being held up. Now you could just see at the bottom of your screen, that was the one saying 55.
Yes.
And squeezes his way through, not quite. Pops it over to his fellow high pointer. 10 seconds to go, and oh, how about that one?
He was always going to get that back, so he gave it to Verdun so that Verdun could draw the defenders, and then moved into a position where he could take the return pass. So clever play.
Danes scoring easily, and they tried to get there.
Oh, that was good play to score with just over 40 seconds left. So if they can force France to score fairly quickly, they'll have a reasonable amount of time in which to get another try.
So France want to score.
Well, France will want to use up as much.
They want to score.
Yeah,
First
absolutely.
and foremost.
They will.
Secondly, they want to score. Thirdly, if they can, they would like to score. Looking at the possession clock there, 27. They want to score in about 24 seconds' time. Are they going to use their timeout?
So sometimes you'll see teams come out of that key defence to try and force the team to drive to the line. So
8 seconds left on the clock.
Cut him off. Good work, but there's enough time there, especially with the long ball.
Will race, it's going to go out of bounds.
Oh! That's so unfortunate for Denmark.
Well, all of a sudden, 5.4.
Yeah, again.
The timeout won't reset the game clock. You can't have 15 seconds on the game.
Nope.
So it's going to be punted forward. A miracle catch!
Oh.
Oh, that could have been a decider there. Well, all of a sudden, there's 2.3 seconds left, so the Danes can have another go.
Yes. And tries have been scored in less than that, but I don't think they'll do that. The fact that they've got the possession arrow at the start of the fourth quarter.
Well, the Danes decided not to go for it again. Discretion, the better part of valour. So that one was 12 apiece. We've had all three quarters, 13 each, 13 each, 12 each. And the net result is 38 each going into the final quarter.
Wow.
Well,
too close to call.
The advantage for Denmark is that they will have the inbound. The advantage for France is that they have a timeout. Other than that, who knows?
Well,
and
the crowd's still a factor.
The crowd's worth 0.5.
Yeah. And I think France have had three really tough games. This one and the games against USA and GB, where they won both of those by 1 point on the same day.
Exactly.
How much did that take out of them?
By the same token, the Danes have played Japan, Australia and Canada in the group stages.
They have,
so,
and they've all been tough games.
We keep trying to find differences. Let's have a look at the stats. OK, 1 steal each, 3 turnovers each, 38 points each.
No fouls.
And no fouls each. You cannot put a rice paper between these two. It's amazing. France ranked 5th in the world, even though they are reigning European champions and on the up. Denmark ranked 7th. Denmark, if they win this, then they will be hunting down Canada, who lost their quarter-final against USA earlier. So Denmark looking to make it into the top 6. Denmark looking to make it into the semi-finals here. And what an atmosphere we will have if Denmark make it through to the semis on a Saturday afternoon in here.
Yes. Yeah, if you think it's loud now, then...
The city of Vejle is home to parasports in Denmark. They've had many tournaments here, including the Euros 3 years ago. They've had table tennis tournaments, all sorts of events here. Denmark as a whole is a very parasport positive country and has been for a long while. And so the atmosphere in here tomorrow, if the Danes make it through to the semis, will be huge. Denmark will still be playing, even if they lose, because they will have 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th matches to go for. But if they have a semi-final,
yes. Yeah, it'll be absolutely unbelievable in here. And, yeah, there's a few seats that aren't filled in here at the moment, but I don't think you'll be able to find one tomorrow.
No, the dancing mascot there will be getting everybody in. I'm sure he'll be going around the city of Vejle saying, come one, come all.
So the coaches have done their work during that 3-minute break. The players are out on court waiting for the clock just to run down. But my nerves are jangling. I can't imagine what's going through those players.
The ones who are out there in front of us, on your screens around the world right now. 8 minutes with it all to do. And the semi-final berth against the winner of Australia and Great Britain up for grabs. They get the inbounds. It's got to go over the halfway line again, and it does.
Fredriksson protecting that ball as soon as he turned and was met by Verdun there.
Bounces it because he'd had it for 10 seconds, and there we go. That's the first part of the contract fulfilled.
Both teams with their starting 4 lineups from the beginning of the game.
That's right, the Danes going 3-5-3, 1-5.5. With Sophie Skolbo out there giving them the benefits. In fact, it's 2-3-5s, isn't it? No, we've got Jørgensen. We've got Jørgensen or Peters.
Yeah.
Turn around, let me see the
tell.
number and the name. Yes.
Good work by Leon there, but Verdun came in behind him to stop him from cutting off.
They've only got 12 seconds to score.
Yeah. He finds Verdun. That's great work. So I think we might see Jason Regier making changes during this quarter. I'm not sure Bob Van Acker will make any changes unless he's fought.
Well, we just saw Riyad Salem there. I can't see Salem coming on unless, yes, Ivarna suddenly has an equipment failure or something along those lines again, or heaven forbid we have an injury.
Good picking there by Sophie Skolbo, whose brother played professional football for Denmark. Oh, so we saw Leon Jørgensen down a minute ago. We now got Sebastian Verdun on the floor as the camera picks up Riyad Salem, France's 3.5 player. Not sure we'll see him. I think they'll go Iron Man in this quarter with this quartet.
Turned around and went, brace yourself. So everyone has a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Shout in the odds there is Jørgensen, the captain, saying, sort this out. So
yeah, they're putting him on his back in order. He's obviously got a foot plate problem there. They've got a minute in which to sort it out when you have an equipment timeout.
A minute, right? Okay, and as much gaffer tape as you can possibly. Yeah. That's the equivalent of the magic sponge, isn't it? The gaffer tape.
So it looks as if his foot plate has worked loose there. So the buzzer's gone at 50 seconds. So you can substitute the player whose equipment you can't fix. That's the only time you can sub on an equipment timeout. So we see the introduction of Leon Jørgensen's body double, Mark Peters, and on comes Kurt Busk and Thomas Pay.
So they're going high-low, mid-age, veteran age.
Yep, Thomas Pay setting up a trap on the penalty box where Sebastian Verdun finds himself. They'll try and force him to become the inbounder as Fredriksson crosses the line. Yep.
Verdun asks to inbound. He's asked to do something. He's asking for an equipment timeout.
Looks like maybe a problem with his gloves or tape. Not sure which. Yeah, they're grabbing
gloves.
tape off the bench.
Yeah. Thomas Pett says, "You're not going to reel me in that way. I'm going to stay here." So this is a different kind of gaffer tape, isn't it? It's similar, but don't get it from a hardware store.
It's taking 2 people to apply it by the looks of things. So Thomas Pett, when there's an equipment timeout, it doesn't. Verdun hasn't said you need to move this guy away. You're meant to give the player having the equipment timeout at least a meter space. But everybody remembers that Verdun wanted to be the inbounder. The equipment timeout call could have been an opportunity to.
Could have been a red herring.
Yes. Yeah, a distraction move. Long ball from Evenat to Nonka.
Now have the Denmark, we've got lots of nicknames for teams, and have Denmark got a nickname for their teams? If not, I think they should be the Red Herrings. I think that would be an ideal nickname for them.
They are the Great Danes.
The Great Danes, there we go, of course.
Yeah.
There we go. Nonquin, look at that pushing there. The speed he has over short distances, Nonquin.
And it's that Peters-Verdun tussle once more we see there.
Peters once again goes push, and then grab that ball.
Yeah.
Not going to lose it this time around.
No, and the pass wasn't made quite so forcefully as well. So they've learnt from that earlier miss.
Dane's happy to be in the key again on defence.
Even that driving with great strength.
Burrowed his way through.
Yeah, he's got this shoulder dropping, head swaying, hand shuffling motion, but it's so difficult to know which way he's going to go. Very difficult to stop. See him moving his way there to cut off Peters, but that's a great pass to Sebastian Fredriksson.
It was, because it had to pick the pocket of Nonquin, and it did. They're in the key again, and Ivelna goes round the outside. Busk with the inbound.
Great long ball there. Can he get it? He does. Oh,
Corral, that's
tremendous skill to do that. Oh, ball's gone loose.
The Danes have picked it up, and this is a huge turnover. Fredriksson runs it in, and they have a 2-point lead.
Which in a game...
In the context of this game.
Yeah, it's huge. And there's still 5 minutes, 22 seconds, but that's phenomenal.
Sobering moment for that particular French fan. They find themselves too adrift. It's not just the possession advantage anymore.
I'd just been about to make a comment about how neither of these two coaches are particularly prone to histrionics or getting really wound up, but and they're still maintaining those poker faces, but it's.
Well, we've seen Bob Van Acker with his head in his hands on a couple of occasions.
Even trying to blast his way through, but he's almost as fast going backwards as he is going forwards.
Well, he has to be with Peters. There's 5 seconds to go. They have to call a timeout, and they do. Wow. That's the final timeout. It's going to give them 15 seconds in which to get this back to a 1-try game.
So that's been a huge piece of play in the last couple of minutes, getting that turnover by Denmark and then forcing France to use up that timeout. They didn't want France going into the last minute or the last 40 seconds of the game with that timeout under their belts.
It's also nervous times for the French. It's reset it, but only to 15 seconds. They've got 15 seconds to score, otherwise it's 2 tries plus possession for the Danes. Verdun going this way and that.
Verdun's got it.
Oh.
Well done, Jonathan. Verdun was in a good position. He got himself clear, unnoticed by the Danish defence there. But
Peters with the inbound, corralled by Fredriksson,
yes,
who's tied up. Where's he going to go?
Heat on that.
Gets away from Le Guen.
Yep.
Le Guen's going to come back. Fires it forward. It's got to get there. It's not going to get there. It's a turnover. Ivernat.
So that was desperation.
Fires
there.
it over the top, and all of a sudden it's a tie game.
Because their two high pointers were caught in around their own key, and all they had downfield were 2.5s. And that pass, if you're passing to a player with 0.5 function, you've got to make sure that is
it's got to land in their lap.
On their money. Yeah. Oof. 44 apiece.
Le Guen has another equipment change. Sophie Skolbo has come back on, as has Cor Momme-Nielsen, so they've gone back to the well. They've gone back to the starting lineup.
Yep. Jorgensen's chair has obviously been fixed. And Momme-Nielsen adds to his total, and that takes him up to 6 tries in this game.
I think the value that Sophie Skolbo adds to this team, A, with her play, and B, the fact that it gives Denmark the bonus and means they could go with a couple of 3-5s if they want to, then it's huge, her influence on the team.
She's not able to pick Sebastian Verdun on that occasion. And even at races, spinning foul. Check the... So first he's called a spinning foul. Twice he's said technical foul there.
Yes.
As well. So whether something was said, that's probably what's happened there. So a penalty try was awarded for the spin. But
Fredriksson's in the bin, so this is double jeopardy. It's 3 on 4.
Brilliant play there by Jorgensen. But
Momme-Nielsen stuck. They're going to try and get him out of bounds.
He's got to get that
to
ball
give it to. Skolbo is there. He needs to put it into Skolbo's lap. She's got it. She's handed it off. They've got the ball back.
How did that happen?
20 seconds to go. There's 3 of them there. The high pointer is up there. This could be the possession that decides the match.
Moncan has picked Momme-Nielsen and will get his hand in there as well.
Who's going to pick this one up? Where's the ball gone? What say you referees? No one's got it yet. The French have come up with it.
There's nothing on the possession. The possession clock was down to 0. So it was still technically a Danish possession because nobody could come up with the bouncing ball.
Now, how long has Fredriksson been in the bin for? He's going to come out when this...
Yes, when France scored. And there's a trap, a double trap on the penalty box. So he elects to be the inbounder.
Well, as you can hear from those air horns, France have taken the lead. The air horns from one part of the crowd and silence from the rest. All of a sudden, the Danes were 2 points clear. Now they're a point adrift. Oh, that was so close to getting him out of bounds twice. Fredriksson gets them on their feet again.
Brilliant wheels. But, and a good give and go on the inbound because Leon Jorgensen was double teamed and tied up.
Now, by this time, by this stage in proceedings, we've usually been asked for our player of the match, and we haven't been asked yet because I think they're going to be waiting to see whether it goes to
how tight this is.
The old OT. So, 20 seconds left on the possession clock that you can see. Every pass here is going to be crucial. The ball's been lost. There's a turnover for the Danes.
Wow.
Ball fired forward. Can Momme Nielsen get it?
He did well. Did well. Positioned his chair
is there to stop him.
And there's a hand in there, though. So Le Guen will find himself going to the penalty box. And Denmark will get a new 40 seconds. That's brilliant turnover you're seeing there on your screen. And you couldn't quite see it there, but Momme Nielsen positioned his chair. He changed the angle of his chair in order to take that pass.
I don't think Le Guen needed to go for that. He'd already blocked him. I don't think Momme Nielsen was going to get around him before the likes of the Verdun and Yvernad got back. So Denmark running down the clock here because they know they're 4 on 3. It's still 8.5 on 7.5, so it's not that flagrant a mismatch, but they're still going to score. You'd have thought 10 seconds, yes. The Danes take the lead with 93 seconds to go.
Even that had been picked by Carl Momme Nielsen there before the end of that play, legally, but then now asks for an equipment timeout, which springs that pick, which just asks for his axle to be replaced there, but that is significant because he was not in a pass receiving position there. So he's managed to spring the pick. So Lejeune finds himself. Le Guen, sorry, is still in the penalty box, so it must have been a penalty try that was awarded.
That is huge in the context of this match.
My apologies, because I think we missed that. So the game, Bob Van Acker's asking the Games Commissioner, Brian Ward.
Nankin inbounded it,
and it went
Yvernat was asking the referee something.
Yeah.
Nankin screaming at him saying, watch the ball. Long and the short of it is, France is still 3 on 4. Denmark have a lead.
Yep.
They've got another turnover. They're trying to get Fredriksson out of bounds.
They've got 40 seconds as well. That drum's being beaten faster and faster now. I don't think you can have any greater level of tension than there already is. So
2 points clear with 70 seconds to go.
Le Guen is now able to come out from the penalty box.
The French need to score and they need a turnover, purely to level things up.
Just 70 seconds remaining. Oh, good work there by Nankin to secure the corner there for Yvernat. And the gap is back to 1. But he's got to find his receiver, and that's great work. I guarantee you, will he score? Yes, he will score. I thought he was going to turn away there and try and run the clock, but
points on the board.
You've got to do it. Yeah.
Points on the board.
Yeah. Especially when you can make it a two-try gap. If it's only 1, you might might run the clock. But
you can't beat a 2-try gap in the last minute.
No.
You can lose from it, but there's nothing better than a. Yes, yep. Well, there's nothing better. There's a 20-try gap is far better, but you can't beat points on the board in the last minute when it's this tight.
Momme Nielsen sent to the penalty box, leaving the court. I didn't see it, but I'll give you a pound to a penny. It was Nankin pushing him over. Yeah. So France score quickly. They've got to do that. Momme Nielsen to be the inbounder.
So 41.8 seconds for the French to get a turnover. And if they do, that will merely tie it up. Skolbo.
So
back to Momme Nielsen. Fredriksson taking responsibility as he has done throughout this match.
So here's a play for you. You get the ball over. Oh,
what on earth happened there?
No idea there. So I was going to say Denmark. All they've got to do is get the ball over halfway, run it, let the 40-second clock run out down in the corner, and France have got 1.8 seconds left in which to score. But now
they've got to inbound out of the corner. They've done it. The French. Now, it's been stolen.
Still French
but it's
ball.
gone the way of the French.
Oh, what a great hand in there.
This is absolutely never-ending.
Fredrickson.
21.1 seconds. And Verdun says, it didn't come off me last. 21.1 seconds. Le Guen's got to inbound, and he has. That's the first part
Even
of the deal.
that treble team there, but now Noncan has got a block on Jurgensen.
He's got to score, but take his time.
Mama Nielsen leaves the court. Okay, interesting. Penalty try. Argument there for putting him in the bin there, because France weren't looking to score.
So the Danes with 10 seconds to go to score. It's Peters. It's a foot race. It's seconds to go. Fredrickson, can he get the ball out? He's not going to be able to.
We have an overtime game. It's all your fault. You were the one who mentioned the O word.
Overtime it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, 13 apiece, 13 apiece, 12 apiece, 11 apiece, and that means 49-49. We are going to go to overtime. There was a little bit of panic there from the Danes towards the end. There was that pass that was thrown forward for no good reason. Obviously some sort of miscommunication there.
They had to get the ball over the halfway, but there was nobody there to receive the ball.
Yes, so the clock was running down and it would have been an automatic turnover, so they had to get the ball over the halfway line, but unfortunately the two high pointers were back. One of them was throwing the ball forward and the other one had been locked in there. So somehow the French have got out of jail. Even with 12 seconds to go there, Denmark had a play and rushed it a little bit. So maybe you're seeing the slight lack of experience compared with the French, but who knows, with the crowd behind them, with 3 minutes to go.
So overtime starts with a new tip-off. Any subsequent overtimes have a tip-off again as well. And each team, you can see at the bottom of the cube, have got a yellow dot there, so they each get given a timeout, which we mentioned earlier.
They've got so they've got a timeout back. So 4 turnovers to 2 to the Danes in that one. When you consider the reason why they scored the same number of tries, but the Danes had possession to begin with and then lost it towards the end, getting a little bit nervous, giving away the ball, the disappointment there. The French coming out there, they're the ones who feel as if they're the ones who've got the momentum going into this overtime period. 3-minute break will be followed by a 3-minute period of overtime, and then if we're level at the end of that, as Simon was saying, we will go again, and we will go again, and we will go again.
Until we get a winner. Yep. This is an amazing game. Wow.
The Spectrum in Vejle, a little bit of a subdued atmosphere because the Danes coulda, shoulda won that one, and they're probably thinking again, well, this is what happened against Japan, the world champions. We could have won it in regulation time, didn't quite do it. We could have won in an overtime, should have won it in overtime, didn't quite.
Psychologically,
now they're doing it again against the European champions.
Psychologically, France have won 2 of their games, not in overtime, but in regulation time, but by one try.
In the last minute, suddenly turning it around, playing overtime-style rugby.
Particularly against GB, where they pulled back from 5-try deficit in the 4th quarter.
And 2 down in the final minute, admittedly with possession, so...
don't blink.
So, Thomas Pet is out there. Peters, Busk,
They're down sitting high up, but again, Peters comes up with the ball. So they continue to play in the direction they played in the 4th quarter. You always play towards your bench in the second half.
Huge tip-off one there by the Danes. So they're the ones with possession. They're the ones now with the lead.
So there is a possession arrow, and France have been forced to use up their timeout. they get that additional timeout, well, they've already burnt it because Le Guen could not get the ball into a receiver. So again, that's another mini win for Denmark.
You've got 10 seconds to inbound, and Le Guen couldn't do that in time. So the Danes, they've done what they set out to do, and now they're going to go back into the key.
Okay, so it looks like they're struggling to take the time off, the timeout off the clock at the moment.
The French saying, it's all right, we'll just play on and someone can sort that out, and maybe they won't realise, and everybody looking up there at the cube.
Yeah, it's still showing a French timeout on there, but Games Commissioner Brian Ward has said it's okay.
So the French again with it all to do. Once again, much as was the case against Japan for Denmark, they could have won it in regulation time and didn't quite. They've taken the lead in overtime. They want to make sure that they don't have it happen to them all over again.
Good work there by Thomas Pay coming out to meet Ivanat. And Kurt Boos.
4-3.
So
now, what's the call here?
I suspect leaving the court. Yeah. If it's a defensive foul, it's usually either his wheel just touched. Yeah, great spot there by Pierre-Alexandre.
I struggled to see it even with a slow motion replay.
Yeah,
trained on it. It was brilliant camera work to be trained on it, and it was brilliant work from, as you say, from Pierre-Alexandre.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't scored yet, the French, and they're still taking their time doing it.
They were given another 40 seconds, so they used a chunk of it up. We're into the last 2 minutes.
It's taken them over a minute to score.
Yeah. So yeah, finally that one timeout for the French has been removed from the cube. Kurt Busk having to take the inbound there. That's a risky strategy, but it's now in the hands of Fredriksson, and it shows great rules.
The Danes take the lead once again.
The mascot's dancing up and down, trying to get the crowd going.
I think the crowd has been got going there by Sebastian Fredriksson. He got going down the wing and got that all-important point for his team.
So Nankin there has forced Thomas Pay out of the key there. That was great positional play there.
51 apiece. Once again, Busk with the inbound. Peters, where can he go? He can't take a timeout. They're not going to have to, because it's in the hands of that man once again. Fredriksson, I thought he was going to be forced out, but no, over the top, and the crowd are going to love that.
So Thor Johansson there on the Danish bench, the assistant coach, is holding up some form of instruction or time message.
It was a black card, and it was saying black out any other thoughts.
I didn't think I could read anything on it. No, I thought it was purely black. So
they've been holding up colours.
Maybe so, black. Yeah, black means something.
There's a yellow. They've held up a yellow one before. So we're into the last minute,
and we're tied once more.
The only thing between them is possession for Denmark and the timeout.
Nice twist and turn there from Fredriksson.
Now he can take this down. He's going to score now. Bear in mind that the Danes have a timeout left. They lead. France are wanting to score and score quickly. Yes, now they're holding up the yellowy-green one, depending on what kind of colour you see.
Le Guen did brilliantly. Oh, but Fredriksson, come up with it! Wow! And people are jumping up and down all over the place.
You don't need the instructions, you don't need the colours, you don't need the timeout. You need someone of the calibre of Sebastian Fredriksson to step up, get a turnover, score a try. There's another turnover.
Has come up with it.
Fredriksson lobs it forward. The Danes are going into the semi-finals.
Wow. This is a repeat of the semi-final in the European Championships 3 years ago. Denmark didn't need overtime on that occasion, but...
Bjarna's still going. He's not giving up.
No.
Gets it to within 2 with 12.6 seconds to go, but surely now the Danes can manage this.
But, France will be right in their faces looking for a steal. They've got 4 against 3, and there's a hand in there, but it's off Verdun, and it'll be Danish ball from the sideline, which is a more difficult inbound from that corner.
It is, but it's taken a second off the clock, and every second counts when there's only 11.5 to go. We've had a coach's timeout. Well, that was the steal there from Fredriksson. Stole it twice, scored it, put it on the floor, and then said, it's not over yet. Kept his game face on.
So they've made the change so they can have a stronger inbounder with Nielsen rather than the 2.5 players inbounding.
He's going to get over the line, pops it over. It doesn't matter where it goes. The buzzer's gone, and Denmark are into the semi-finals of the 2022 Wheelchair Rugby World Championship. They have defeated the French, the European champions, 55-53. There was nothing to choose between them until it got to overtime, and then the host nation dominated. Look at the scenes here at the Spectrum in Vejle. A nation rejoices.
Well, the crowd's gone into meltdown. The ticket sales line's gone into meltdown. Absolutely brilliant. France have been brilliant through it in the pool stages. Absolutely phenomenal. But Denmark, what a comeback in overtime. You felt the momentum was with France.
The crowd loving every minute of this. And I think they're going to love it even more because we're going to have the Grundfos player of the match. And that will give them time, gives the players time to get out there, line up, and the fans to applaud their heroes once again.
Player of the match. Overrækkes af Ben Bøjter, direktør i Præsident, som hovedsponsor i Parasport Danmark. Player of the match from Denmark, number 10, Sebastian Frederiksen.
Sebastian Frederiksen, the player of the match. 28 tries, 16 pass assists, and those steals at the end, the equivalent of a double steal at the end. A steal in overtime. Stolen the match for the Danes, and they are through to the semis. A worthy winner.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there was some
could have been plenty of others.
Yeah, there were some brilliant performances from Ivanat and Verdun, France's 2 high pointers. Peters and Jørgensen, the captain, both played superbly. Noncan was the low point candidate, as he so often is.
You could write that down before you start the match, can't you?
Yeah, pretty much. But wow, that was phenomenal.
A huge performance from the mascot as well. Never gave up with those boots on as well. How he managed to get around the court, I'll never know.
Coach Jason Regier there from the United States. He's got a wealth of experience, a multi-time Paralympian and World Championship medalist as well. He knows what's needed to win these tight games. He's been in those situations so many times.
Wonderful. Look at that. He's got even more hair than Christian Bach Eriksson. Look at that for from the mascot. Yes, and Regier is going to be even more delighted with the fact that they probably should have won it in regulation and then did win it in overtime.
Yes.
So it's laid that one to rest after they lost against Japan in overtime. They've proved that they can do it in the added 3 minutes.
They have. They've got that monkey off their back, as people say. But equally, they've done it against France twice now here in Vejle when it's mattered. A semi-final in the Europeans, a quarter-final here in the Worlds. But both absolutely close. And this is what we see. So Denmark finished 4th, France finished top of their groups. This is the banana skin that we've been talking about all the while.
Exactly.
With the introduction of the quarterfinals.
Exactly. You can afford to lose a few matches and then come good at the right time. That's what the Danes have done. 7 steals for the Danes, and that probably was the difference, particularly right at the end, since the turnovers, it was pretty much of a muchness. So 7 steals to 3, and then the game management, and then just the temperament in overtime.
Unbelievable. So, yeah.
So this is what we have seen today. Japan getting past New Zealand at a canter. United States having a little bit too much for Canada and managing to see that gap of 2 or 3 tries home to win 53-51. And then Denmark winning it 55-53 in overtime. And they will face the winners of Australia and Great Britain. That match is a mere half an hour away. So don't go anywhere. If it's a bit late at night, at a push, if you want to, then avoid the result and then watch it on our YouTube channel tomorrow, the World Wheelchair Rugby YouTube channel. But if you can watch it at 19:15 local time, that's 18:15 GMT, then please do.
They might, because of the overtime, they might just push it back a fraction.
I certainly hope so, because, well, I want some dinner, and I haven't got much time for that. You want your birthday dinner as well, so...
I want a cold shower after that.
Well, quite, yes. So it says countdown 75 minutes, but I don't believe that. So you never know, it might be that. So keep an eye on the live stream. As Simon has just pointed out, it might be a little bit later. No, look at that, keep an eye on it. Yes, it's counting down, and I'm going to have to get out of here because I need some dinner. Simon Starr alongside me, the one with the expert commentary throughout. He needs a cold shower and to get off and enjoy his birthday. And the Danish fans need to enjoy this historic victory. They are through into the semi-finals.